Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of XRP, taking a look at what has been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you have not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, so why not go ahead and check it out today? And if you are looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, the Patreon services are also in the description down below. We offer a lot more for our Patreon members over in Discord, so if that's your bag, why not check that out as well? Okay, let's waste no more time. Let's jump right down into this, right? So XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source here, okay? Now, we're going to be talking about the move coming down a little bit lower. I do think this is potentially now the beginning of the final move low. We are kind of targeting somewhere between 20 and 25 cents. However, the subwave counts are going to be the most important thing here, as they are going to ultimately dictate where that low is going to be. Now, for the most part, we actually finished this high point. I think we're for 46.6 cents, just up here. Let me actually just grab hold of that wick high. Go on. There we go. 46.59. Okay, so that was our high point, and then from there we basically have descended down. Now there's a couple of different ways we can look at this, and I'm going to show you the macro one to start with, which basically is this is a wave 1 low just here. We then have some kind of wave 2 high, and we're currently tracking down into a wave 3 low. Okay, we'll then bounce, and then we'll come down lower afterwards. Okay, now the subwave counting is also available inside this third wave. Now wave 1 here is probably a leading diagonal of some kind, lots of overlap and all that kind of stuff. However, on this side of things we can quite clearly see that we have this structure to the downside here. We'll look for some kind of fourth wave bounce, which is I think actually happening right now, even though it doesn't feel like it. We're getting a bit of a reset, and then we'll come down into a final fifth wave. That fifth wave there is basically our third wave low, okay, on the macro side, and then we should end up with a fourth wave bounce, which should be more noticeable than what's going on right now. And then from there we move down towards our low targets. Okay, obviously we can't be 100% accurate on this until these fourth waves have played out, and specifically this end of this third wave and the beginning or end of this fourth wave. Once we kind of get through halfway of this fourth wave move up, we'll be able to kind of understand where our fourth wave is likely to end based on Fibonacci based numbers, and then we should pull back down again, somewhere between 1.236 and 1.618 is usually the area that we look for here on this final fifth wave low. Okay, so it does feel that XRP is holding up well considering the way that Bitcoin's moving. However, I do think that actually we're going to get hit harder a little bit further down the line here with a couple of these altcoins. So just keep a close eye on this, but essentially this is kind of what we're looking at here, right? So if I zoom on in, and I'll make this a little bit bigger here, we can see that we kind of bounced up a little bit already. We're pulling back down again. I would expect a little bit of a surge back up, and then not too far, but just a tad. That would actually mark the end of our fourth wave, and you can see it's tiny. It's not really that noticeable. So far it looks like this, just from the low to the high, and then we'll pull back down into a final fifth wave, coming down lower, which will get us below 30 cents, because I think that's really where we're bouncing from at the moment. Now, if we bring the stochastic RSI up into play, you can see that we're getting that reset. Going from oversold on this hourly chart, we're going to be looking to move up into the overbought area, and then that's going to basically mark the top of our fourth wave here, and then we'll pull back down into the fifth wave. Now, we've got a couple of different things that can happen with with the fifth wave, right? We can have a very simple movement, which is basically 1.236 to 1.618, or alternatively we get an overextended fifth wave, which would basically have 5 waves in itself, and that would take us down significantly lower, and then we would bounce, and then we'd go down even lower after that. So we have to be a little bit cautious with these kind of fifth wave movements, but for the most part we are really heavily overset. It all depends on what's going to be going on with the 4-hourly, the 8-hourly stochastic RSIs as well during this momentum to the downside. So we should be a little bit cautious, but this is kind of what we've been talking about for quite some time, and this is the area really where we are looking to accumulate a decent position in XRP ahead of the kind of the major runs next, right? Now, if I come up into our daily chart, you can kind of see that we had the Elliott wave triangle. We're pulling down into these low ranges of our E wave, and we're just ending the ABC structure here with a 5-wave structure down. So again, not too dissimilar. Now, we could, of course, maybe take a look at this slightly differently and say that maybe the triangle was now invalidated through a 5-wave move at the end here, because in any of these A, B, C, D, E's, they should only ever be 3-wave moves. They shouldn't really be 5-wave moves. So, you know, if we were to say that the whole thing here was a 5-wave structure, it would basically mean that the triangle is not valid. It doesn't necessarily mean that the macro is not, however, as our directional move would still be, you know, upwards into the C wave. However, it would mean that you wouldn't necessarily see an impulsive structure form like we had been talking about before. So we should be a little bit cautious on a couple of these things. Once we kind of have the bottom nailed here, somewhere between 20 and 25 cent, I feel, and then essentially from that point, we should be looking at progressing up, and then we'll be able to analyze whether or not we've got the impulsive structure, which is a 5-wave structure like this, or whether or not we just have a corrective structure, which would be something like we saw from March 2020 up to April of 2021. This kind of ABC structure just in here, or WXY structure, I should say, where we had this move, right? So it's whether or not we end up with something similar to this with a big pullback in the middle, or whether or not we end up with these 3 motive waves going up and 2 corrective waves in there, leading us into this trend-based pattern instead. So, you know, essentially we don't necessarily know just yet, but that's kind of, you know, room for speculating on where we think that's going to go. I do expect an impulsive structure, just because I think that the SEC Ripple lawsuit is basically going to come to conclusion right when this thing starts to get some decent traction to it. So hopefully around this 3rd wave into, you know, 2023, for example. And I think that will allow us to really get some decent traction from it once we get clarity over what XRP is in the United States. Obviously, you know, it's just a states-based issue. It does affect the rest of the world, mind, but, you know, for the rest of us, you know, we either know it's an exchange token or currency or something to that effect. It's only the US that are a little bit behind in trying to classify XRP. Although, to be fair, I don't think that's really the negotiation here. I think essentially the whole thing with the SEC is just a money grab, personally. And trying to get their control over the crypto space, which is just nonsense, really. But anyway, I'll leave that to the professionals to discuss, and I'll leave the video there. If you have found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.